This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV, 5 topics in about 10 minutes for Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. I'm Derek Gilbert. If you're watching on YouTube, I ask you to subscribe. Please click that bell for notifications. Our address at 5 in 10. But then before the end of the program, I'll tell you how to make sure we never get canceled. Very important. Topic number 5 today. Ukraine. It appears the end game has arrived. Now, these are unconfirmed reports coming out of Kyiv, but it appears that the U.S., the U.K., NATO, the West has decided to pull the plug on life support. Reports out of Ukraine indicate that President Volodymyr Zelensky's Minister of Defense, Rustem Umerov, is preparing to fire the commander of the Joint Forces, Sergei Nayev, commander of the Operational Strategic Group, Alexander Tarnovsky, and commander of the Medical Forces, Tatiana Ostashenko. In other words, a purge inside the Ministry of Defense. Ukrainian sources furthermore write that Zelensky's top advisor, Andriy Yermak, is going to try to coordinate with the Biden administration the replacement of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Valery Zaluzhny, who is not satisfied with the job that Zelensky is being done. Zaluzhny recently refused to begin the second stage of the counteroffensive crossing the Dnieper River and heading eastward into Russian territory. This, as an outside observer, seemed to be a rather obvious decision for Zaluzhny because the counteroffensive that's been ongoing since beginning of June now, 5 months, has regained, according to The Economist in the UK, about 1%, less than 1% of the territory captured by Russia last year. In other words, why send more men east into a meat grinder? Zaluzhny instead deciding to go on the defensive and start fortifying positions west of the Dnieper River. Yermak, Zelensky's advisor, was in Washington Tuesday meeting with Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. It's worth also noting that CIA Director William Burns is reportedly on his way to Ukraine to meet with Zelensky himself. Possible that he's about to tell the Ukrainian president, here's how things are going to be. It's worth noting that when Burns was ambassador to Russia during the George W. Bush administration, he wrote a note to then Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice back in 2008, so again, 15 years ago, quote, Ukrainian entry into NATO is the brightest of all red lines for the Russian elite, not just Putin. In more than 2.5 years of conversations with key Russian players, from knuckle draggers in the dark recesses of the Kremlin to Putin's sharpest liberal critics, people who weren't even friends with Putin, in other words, I've yet to find anyone, Burns writes, who views Ukraine and NATO as anything other than a direct challenge to Russian interests, end quote. In other words, it's been well known inside the deep state in Washington, D.C., that pushing for Ukrainian membership in NATO was something that Russia was not going to allow to happen. We did it anyway because of the miscalculation that Russia was a lot weaker than we estimated. That turns out not to be the case, and because of that miscalculation, it now appears that Russia has sliced off the eastern portion of Ukraine, and Ukraine's not going to get it back. Topic number 4, spec ops in the Mediterranean. 5 American service members tragically lost their lives Friday after their helicopter had a mishap during what's being called a training exercise in the eastern Mediterranean Sea. 2 officials Sunday confirmed that the 5 were Army Special Operations soldiers. The search and rescue efforts went into effect Saturday before being called off. These are members of the elite Special Operations Aviation Regiment known as the Night Stalkers, the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, that is. These are based out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. They are the best helicopter pilots in the Army. They usually transport units like Delta Team or SEAL Team 6 into combat operations. The MH-60 or Black Hawk helicopter went down near the island of Cyprus, reportedly sent there to be in place if needed to help evacuate American citizens from the region. The question I have, and bear in mind, I've got no military experience, so I honestly don't know the answer to this. Do special operations forces conduct training exercises overseas? Why would they be conducting what was called a routine refueling mission as a training exercise? Or is it being called that because they were actually doing something else? In other words, taking a Delta Force team or a SEAL Team 6 somewhere in Lebanon, Gaza, Israel. I don't know the answer to that question. I am just putting it out there if you know, I'd appreciate an email, because it just seems a little strange to me that this took place. Again, sadly, these 5 men lost their lives, and a definite loss to the U.S. military. Topic number 3, White House cocaine. Remember that back in July? The first photos of that baggie found in his locker in a phone locker in the White House has been published by the Daily Mail. Daily Mail, based out of the United Kingdom, actually does more investigative journalism here in the U.S. than any of the U.S. corporate media. The Secret Service included images of the bag in response to a Freedom of Information Act request. This was found in locker number 50 on Sunday, July 2nd. The Biden family was at Camp David for the 4th of July holiday weekend. This discovery, because they didn't know at first what it was, prompted an evacuation of the West Wing, street closures in the area around the White House as well, and then triggered an 11-day investigation, which was closed, with the Secret Service and the FBI saying, well, really? I mean, the White House has got to be one of the most heavily surveilled places on earth. And even though they got this photo of the baggie inside the phone locker, the official story is that they can't tell who left it there because security cameras point the other direction. They don't actually face the lockers. Well, remember, just a month after this was released, we reported on this back in early August. Investigative journalist Susan Katz-Keating, who's the publisher of Soldier of Fortune magazine, ran an article a month after the drugs were found saying that, yeah, they had fingerprints off the baggie. Secret Service knows who it is. They told Joe Biden who it is who left it. And while it was not Hunter Biden, okay, Keating said 3 separate sources gave her the same name, not Hunter Biden, but someone in the Biden family orbit. The president knows who it is. You and I probably never going to know who it is. But anyway, this is what triggered the alert back in July. It's interesting how quickly this disappeared down the memory hole. Topic number 2, fired by the Pope. Texas Bishop Joseph Strickland, who's a prominent traditionalist Roman Catholic here in the United States, and not coincidentally, a sharp critic of Pope Francis for making the church more welcoming to the LGBTQIAPP+ community, was removed from his post as the Bishop of Tyler, Texas. This is confirmed by the Vatican. In a statement released Saturday, the Vatican confirmed the decision followed an apostolic visitation ordered by the Pope last June to the Diocese of Tyler. No further details forthcoming, but Strickland has repeatedly criticized Pope Francis and his liberal positions on such issues as transgender rights and same-sex marriage, and accused the Pope of undermining the deposit of faith. Well, you know, when you criticize the boss, that will tend to get you fired. Earlier this year, Pope Francis said that being homosexual isn't a crime. Now, nobody says that it is, but the Bible is pretty clear that it is a sin. But this move taken by conservatives in the Roman Catholic Church as a decision to move the Vatican closer to the LGBTQ community. Last August, Francis blasted the backwardness of conservative bishops, accusing them of replacing faith with ideology and saying, quote, a correct understanding of Catholic doctrine allows for change over time, end quote. Only if you're decoupling Catholic doctrine from the Bible. Coming up, Venezuela. Some people are finding that it's actually better to live there than in Chicago. I'll explain next on 5 and 10.
We want to make sure that you're aware of the largest giveaway of the year in the We Are Legion Grand Collection. When you order the We Are Legion Grand Collection from SkywatchTVStore.com, you'll receive We Are Legion for We Are Many, Dominions, Cosmo Craters, and Washington, D.C. Unmasking the Ancient Riddle of the Hebrew Year 5785 and the Eminent Destiny of America by best-selling author Dr. Thomas Horn. Divided We Stand, the globalist scheme for a one-world government by Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, and The Prince of the Power of the Air and the Last Days, Satanology, History, Prophecy, and Technology by Jeffrey W. Martis. But we're just getting started. This must-have collection also includes the breathtaking 2-hour documentary, The Secret Destiny of America, on DVD, featuring Dr. Thomas Horn as he reveals who the God on America's Great Seal and U.S. $1 bill really is, why 72 pentagrams in the Capitol Dome are used to control the ancient cosmocrators who rule the nations, the coming incarnation of Antichrist, and much, much more. But that's not all. With the holidays just around the corner, now's your chance to save big and receive solid bonus merchandise absolutely free. Because also included in the We Are Legion Grand Collection are any number of brand new, super quality, overstock gift books, DVDs, or audio sets to add to your library or to give away as gifts this coming holiday season. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of nearly $150. Yours now for your donation of only $35 plus shipping and handling, so act quickly. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. This is the largest giveaway of the year, just in time for the holiday gift-giving season, and is available only while supplies last, so don't delay. Visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the We Are Legion Grand Collection now.
Item number 1 today, leaving Chicago for Venezuela. Chicago apparently so unpleasant that some migrants who've traveled a long, difficult journey to get from Venezuela to the United States, where they were transported by Texas Governor Greg Abbott to the sanctuary city of Chicago, have decided to go back to Venezuela. Since August of last year, some 20,000 migrants have arrived in Chicago from Texas. Governor Abbott sending them to Chicago and other Democrat-run cities across the country that have proudly declared their status as sanctuaries against detention or deportation. Well, now the harsh winter in Illinois, lack of infrastructure, and rather ambivalent reception from the people of Chicago, who are saying, why are we spending tens of millions of dollars on people who came in illegally when we got problems here ourselves, like gun crime and tax base fleeing and leaving the city and so on. The Daily Mail, again, doing better investigative journalism in the U.S. than most corporate media, interviewed a 39-year-old man, Venezuelan Michael Castajon, who, with his family, has been sleeping on the floors of police stations in recent weeks because he couldn't afford to pay rent in Chicago. They were renting an apartment. They got a voucher through a program run by the city of Chicago that provided up to $15,000 for 6 months of rental assistance. That's $2,500 a month rental assistance. Now, I know living in Chicago is expensive, but that's eye-opening. That's like, how many places would you like to rent if you were to come here down to the Ozarks? Anyway, that money ran out, the voucher ran out, so they had to give up their living space. Michael found a job in construction, but it wasn't paying enough to find a decent place to live. So again, sleeping on the floor of the police station, which apparently has become the standard in the city of Chicago. But after 5 months of living rough with no end in sight, they've packed up and are heading back to South America. Yes, finding that life in the socialist paradise of Venezuela is actually preferable to life in Chicago. This week on Skywatch TV, we're talking about the deep state, but more specifically, theopolitics. Who or what are the spirits behind those in control of the United States government? The new book by Tom Horn, with contributions from Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, Ryan Pitterson, yours truly, and several others, called We Are Legion, for We Are Many. This is the final series of programs that we will air on Skywatch TV featuring Tom Horn. So don't miss them. You'll find the broadcast right now at our website, skywatchtv.com. All of our video content is there. It's available right now at our Roku and Apple TV channels. You can watch it over the air, our broadcast schedule for the over-the-air program, skywatchtv.com/channels. You can also catch it right now on our YouTube channel, the YouTube channel for the main program at Skywatch TV Now, rumble.com/skywatchtv, or better yet, our mobile app, because that guarantees we will never be canceled. This is our app, and the company that we partnered with on this is a Christian company, not inclined to censor us. So Download this for your iOS, Android, or Amazon Kindle Fire phone or tablet. If you've got a relatively recent smart TV, you can cast the video content to the big screen using Google's Chromecast or Apple's AirPlay, or just watch it on the small screen if you prefer. It has other features like a Bible, multiple translations, audio Bible no less, news updates 3 times a week, calendar of upcoming events, and more right in the palm of your hand. Again, it's free, multiple platforms, and we have links to their app stores at skywatchtv.com. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.